The doors of the Lions facility just opened this morning to reveal something that absolutely nobody in Detroit saw coming, and the connection between our star receiver's recent off-field activities and what could become the most shocking development of the 2025 offseason is about to change how you view this entire season. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your absolute premier destination for comprehensive Detroit Lions coverage. Breaking news, exclusive analysis, and everything you need to stay connected with our beloved franchise as we chase championship glory. I'm bringing you critical information today that connects dots most people haven't even noticed yet. Information that involves the heartbeat of our offense, strategic decisions being made right now in Allen Park, and scenarios that seemed impossible just weeks ago but are becoming increasingly relevant as we speak. Let me take you inside something that started as a simple social media post but has evolved into one of the most fascinating subplots of Detroit's championship push. Amon-Ra St. Brown recently made headlines with what appeared to be a routine fan engagement initiative, giving away signed Cheerios boxes through his foundation alongside his brothers Equanimous and Osiris. On the surface, this looks like standard athlete branding, the kind of corporate partnership we see constantly in professional sports. But when you start connecting this to broader patterns emerging around St. Brown's public positioning, when you analyze how elite receivers at the peak of their powers have historically navigated their careers, and when you consider the financial landscape of the NFL in 2025, a much more complex picture begins to emerge. St. Brown is currently putting up numbers that rank him among the absolute elite at his position. Through his first 9 games this season, he's hauled in 64 catches on 82 targets for 693 yards and 8 touchdowns. Those totals place him 5th in the entire league in receiving yards and 4th in receptions. Remarkable consistency for a player in his 5th NFL season. This isn't a fluke or a hot streak. This is sustained excellence at the highest level, the kind of production that makes franchises build entire offensive systems around a single player. His crisp route running, elite timing with Jared Goff, and that relentless chip on his shoulder mentality that Lions fans have fallen in love with make him arguably the most valuable non-quarterback on this entire roster. Now here's where things get interesting and where I need you to pay extremely close attention, because the implications stretch far beyond this current season. St. Brown signed a 4-year, $120 million contract extension with the Lions back in April 2024, a deal that supposedly locked him into Detroit through the 2028 season. That contract made him one of the highest-paid receivers in the entire NFL, a clear statement from the organization that they view him as a foundational piece of their championship window. On paper, this should mean St. Brown is untouchable, that any speculation about his future anywhere other than Detroit is completely baseless. But professional football doesn't always work according to paper, and there are developing factors that could theoretically create scenarios where even the most seemingly secure situations become fluid. The first factor involves St. Brown's rapidly expanding brand presence beyond football. His Cheerios partnership, which began in July and resulted in him being featured on limited edition boxes of Honey Nut Cheerios, complete with his signature Honey Handstand touchdown celebration, represents just one element of a much larger branding strategy. St. Brown is methodically building a national profile that transcends his on-field production, creating revenue streams and endorsement opportunities that position him as a marketable superstar rather than just a very good NFL receiver. When players start building brands at this level, when they become recognizable beyond hardcore football fans, their career calculations begin to change. Market size matters differently. Media opportunities expand based on geography. The difference between playing in Detroit versus playing in New York, Los Angeles, or Miami starts factoring into decisions in ways that pure football considerations don't fully capture. The second factor, and this one is crucial for understanding potential future scenarios, involves the evolving financial structure of the NFL and how guaranteed money works in these massive receiver contracts. St. Brown's deal, while substantial, includes performance escalators and clauses that create theoretical windows where the team could make a move if circumstances changed dramatically. Now, let me be absolutely clear. There is zero indication Detroit is considering anything remotely close to trading St. Brown. The organization views him correctly as a cornerstone player, one of the best draft picks they've made in the last decade, and an absolute bargain considering he was selected in the 4th round of the 2021 draft. But in the NFL, situations evolve rapidly, and teams that win consistently like Detroit is doing now eventually face salary cap crunches that force difficult decisions. Consider the broader context of where the Lions are positioned right now. At 6-3, tied for first in the NFC North, this team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender for the first time in generations. The offense is explosive, the defense has improved dramatically, and the culture Dan Campbell has built is exactly what championship teams look like. St. Brown is absolutely central to all of this success, a 3-time Pro Bowl selection and 2-time All-Pro, who brings not just production but leadership and toughness that defines Detroit's identity. His presence makes Jared Goff a more effective quarterback, opens opportunities for other receivers, and creates matchup problems that defensive coordinators spend entire weeks trying to solve. But here's the uncomfortable truth that smart organizations have to confront. Championship windows are finite, and maximizing them sometimes requires making moves that feel counterintuitive in the moment. The Lions have significant investments across their roster, with extensions coming due for other key players, draft picks that will require contracts, and the constant challenge of maintaining depth while keeping your stars happy. If, and this is purely hypothetical speculation based on how the NFL operates rather than any actual reporting, if a scenario emerged where another team offered Detroit a package so overwhelming that it fundamentally altered their ability to build around multiple positions rather than concentrating wealth in one player, management would have a fiduciary responsibility to at least consider it. We've seen this play out with other elite receivers recently. Tyreek Hill got traded from Kansas City to Miami, despite being arguably the best receiver in football, because the Chiefs made a calculation about resource allocation. Davante Adams left Green Bay for Las Vegas, seeking a bigger contract and a different situation. Stephon Diggs has been traded twice despite putting up consistently elite numbers. The pattern is clear. In today's NFL, virtually no player is truly untouchable if the right circumstances align. That doesn't mean these moves are common or that teams make them lightly, but it establishes that even recently signed extensions don't guarantee a player finishes their career with that organization. St. Brown's increasing off-field profile adds another layer to this speculation. Players who become national brands start thinking about their post-football careers earlier and more seriously. They start evaluating markets not just for football fit, but for business opportunities, media presence, and long-term positioning. Detroit is an amazing football city with passionate fans and a rich tradition, but it's not New York or Los Angeles in terms of pure market size and endorsement potential. As St. Brown continues building his brand through partnerships like Cheerios and his foundation work with his brothers, those considerations could theoretically become more relevant to his long-term thinking. Now let me pump the brakes significantly here because I know some of you are probably panicking reading these scenarios. The likelihood of St. Brown actually leaving Detroit in the near future is extraordinarily low, approaching zero probability. He just signed a massive extension. He's thriving in this offensive system. He loves playing for Dan Campbell. The team is winning at a level Detroit hasn't experienced in decades. His relationship with Goff is elite-level chemistry that takes years to develop. Every single tangible factor points toward St. Brown finishing this contract in Honolulu blue and potentially signing another extension after that. This speculation is based on understanding how the NFL operates structurally, rather than any actual indication that St. Brown or the Lions are unhappy with their current arrangement. But here's why this conversation matters, even if the probability is minuscule. Lions fans need to understand that in today's NFL, appreciating your stars while you have them is more important than ever. Championship windows are precious and fragile. The fact that we get to watch Amon-Ra St. Brown perform at an all-pro level while wearing a Lions jersey, while this team is actually competing for championships, is something we should never take for granted. Whether he plays out his entire contract in Detroit or whether some unforeseen circumstance creates a different path 5 years from now, right now, in this moment, we have one of the best receivers in football playing his absolute heart out for our franchise. St. Brown's production this season has been critical to everything the Lions have accomplished. His 8 touchdowns already match his total from several previous seasons. His consistency as a target gives Goff a security blanket that allows the entire offense to function at a high level. His blocking in the run game, which doesn't show up in receiving statistics, is absolutely elite and essential to Detroit's rushing attack being so effective. His leadership in the locker room, that mentality of outworking everyone and never being satisfied, sets a tone that elevates everyone around him. These are the intangible elements that make losing a player like St. Brown so devastating, even when you theoretically get good value in return. The connection to his off-field branding initiatives becomes relevant here because it shows St. Brown understands his value extends beyond just football. He's building something sustainable that will last beyond his playing career. That forward-thinking approach is admirable and smart, but it also means he's thinking strategically about every aspect of his career in ways that could theoretically influence future decisions if circumstances ever changed dramatically. Smart players with strong personal brands have more leverage and more options, which is great for them individually but can create complexity for teams trying to maintain long-term roster stability. So, where does this leave us as Lions fans heading into the stretch run of this season and beyond? It means we should celebrate having Amon-Ra St. Brown in Honolulu Blue right now, support him at the highest level, and trust that the organization is doing everything possible to keep this championship core together for as long as the window stays open. It means understanding that professional sports is a business where even the most secure-seeming situations can evolve, but not letting that theoretical possibility diminish our enjoyment of what we're witnessing right now. Let's enjoy watching him dominate while wearing our colors and trust that the Lions organization will do everything in their power to keep this core together. That's professional football at the highest level, and we're lucky to be witnessing it. Make sure you subscribe to Lions News Fan Report if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss critical updates as the Lions continue their championship push. Share this video with fellow Lions fans because these conversations about roster construction and player retention are essential as we think about sustaining success long-term. I'll be back with more comprehensive analysis as the season progresses. Until then, let's go Lions, and let's appreciate every moment we have with this special group